This is Dan Doubleday from the final day at the Revere Beach International Sand Sculpting Festival. We're here at Plot 1 with Angeron David from Belgium, and he's got a piece called, he titled it now, it's called The Raven and the Frog. I'm not familiar with the story. I'm going to have to familiarize myself with it. But you can see he's got some nice textures going here now. I guess that's the raven, and this would be the frog, obviously. And one thing he's doing here that people don't appreciate, because we look at it from the front and it looks fine, but it's really almost a drawing. I mean, if you look at it from the side, it's flat. And to get the dimensions, you need to take a photo of this thing, and for it to look like a three-dimensional face is pretty hard to do. And I guess you would understand it if you saw this from the side, what he's accomplished here. He's putting his final touches on. We just have a few hours left. And you notice he's going to have to finish this whole pile here at the bottom in order to get those finish points. So he's got his work cut out for him. I'm not going to bother him. I'm going to let him continue on. But from here on out, it's all hands and knees. And if you look here, it's more like a 2.5 dimensional head. It's not two-dimensional like drawing. It's not three-dimensional like a sculpture would be. It's, I guess, somewhere around 2.5. It's flat here, but from the photo end of it, you get a picture of a three-dimensional face. And this is a way of saving sand too, and not having to throw so much sand up in the air. So anyway, it's a really clever technique, and it's very difficult to do. We're here at plot number 2, Abe Waterman from Prince Edward Island, Canada. And he's got a title on his piece now called Divide and Conquer. But what you'll notice is these two men are angry with each other, yelling and gesturing, but they're carrying the same flag. So that's something to ponder. I guess that's kind of what's going on in our society. We're so divided, you know, and one theory is that if you divide, you can conquer people. So I think that's his message. And I'd like to walk around back to see what Abe's working on now. This is the back side of Abe's piece, the sunny side in the morning. It looks like we have maybe a businessman and the Grim Reaper shaking hands. So it's going to be interesting to see how he ties this all together with the front of this piece, Divide and Conquer. Abe, always thinking outside the box, never know what's going to happen. It's really going to be interesting to see what he pulls off here. We're here at plot number 3 with Steve Topazio from Rhode Island. Stevie has come such a long way in a short time. He's been doing this a long time, and he's been with us up here since the beginning. And he competed around the world in all kinds of competitions, but never at this level with this quality of talent. So he's running with the big dogs now. And boy, has he made progress. If you could see what Steve did 5 years ago to what he's doing now, what an incredibly nice piece he's got here. He's got this broken clock face. He's got a skull. He's got a skeleton hand around the clock. It's really a stunning piece, and it pops. It shows real well in almost every light. And if you keep in mind too, our light changes throughout the day, and all we have is shadow to work with. So the morning light, the morning shadow, compared to the afternoon shadow, are two different things. So he has to plan ahead and know what that afternoon shadow is going to look like during judging. So that takes some experience, and I'm so pleased with Stevie where he's come. I like the skull he's got coming out of the ground here too. It's very stunning. We are with Remy Hogart from Holland. Plot number 4, and she's got a title on her piece, Goddess Rising. Beautiful piece, and what she's doing right now is what we call an import. It's not part of the pound up that she did. She's actually doing it in her hand and importing it, and see that nice little detail and shadow we get out of this. It really makes this piece kind of come to life. And that's the name of the game in sand sculpture. We don't have any color. All we have is the sand and shadow. So everything you see here, and we talked about it at the last piece, has to do with the sun and how it casts a shadow. So you can see the depth of her cuts behind everything. So everything is separated, and that's what really makes a sand sculpture come to life. It's that separation, that black line, just like if you were drawing this with a black line in there to separate all those little entities she has. So she's doing a wonderful job. She's still got a ways to go, and as we can see, all these pieces get bigger as you get toward the ground, because they swoop out like a pyramid. So she still has quite a bit of groundwork to do here. And as soon as she finishes her imports, I bet she'll be on her knees. Good job, Remy. We're here with Milanège Beauregard from Canada. And if you recall, up until yesterday afternoon, she had a beautiful piece going called Teenage, I believe it was about her daughter. She has a teenage daughter, and the struggles and the love, and you know, when you're raising a teenage kid. And it fell. She had a total collapse. You can still see the crack in the back there from where it fractured and fell. And she lost everything. But being a true professional she is, she didn't quit. She's here today building something new and fantastic. She's a true professional. And that's why we love her, because she kept her head up. She knows now it's going to be very hard to win this thing with the level of competition here, but being the professional she is, she's on her hands and knees back there just going to town. And she's going to give us a beautiful piece, because I know Millie. Plot number 6 is Helena Bangert from the Netherlands. Beautiful piece. The title of her piece is An American Dream. And you know, we get the opportunity to travel the world, and after being in other countries for the past 20 years off and on, I get to realize what we have here in the United States, and other people know it too. And this piece is about the American dream, and how, you know, who wouldn't want their child to grow up with a dream like the freedom we have in America here. And it's a beautiful piece, and I can't wait to see it finished, because she should do well with this piece, because everybody can relate to it, especially here in Revere and Boston area. We have a lot of immigrants here, and living the American dream is what it's all about. We're here at plot number 7 with Joby Bouchard from Canada. He's down on his hands and knees putting the finishing touches. Yeah, Joby's finish is impeccable. He always finishes his piece all the way to the beach sand. And we talked the last couple of days about this is physically impossible for sand to stand this way. It should be the shape of a pyramid. With this sand we can get up straight up and down for even 9 feet, but to have that much weight in these drops here and then thin it off in the neck and flare out, it's just about impossible to pull off. But he has done it. But I would like you to see something. This lighter colored section here is a crack that developed, and I'm surprised they've even stood. But he's been watching this crack every day. Every morning he comes back and it's a little wider, and he just puts sand in it. Now he's watching. It seems to have stabilized. Sometimes the sand, as it dries out, it shrinks and cracks a little bit. But that was a dangerous crack, because it was up there and it developed another crack. And so he's keeping an eye on it too, so he can make this thing stand through judging and through this event. Boy, it's incredible, because this should not be. We're here with Fergus Mulvaney from Ireland, and of course we're stepped back from his piece like yesterday to get the full scale of his woman here. He's got an interesting technique. Most everything Fergus does with lines and shapes and shadows, it's not really a classical kind of sculpture like a Michelangelo or something. He's very stylized. And being from Ireland, you know, I think if they did a DNA or ancestry test on him, he'd probably be related to half the people here. The people love the Irish here. And the name of his piece is Breathe in and Breathe out. So he's about finished here. He's on his hands and knees. The rest of the day is going to be spent down there, because like we give points now on finish. We want to make sure that this piece looks like the same person did it start to finish. And if he's going to put a lot of detail and a lot of time and effort in the top, he's got to do the same at the bottom, so it doesn't look like 2 people carved it. So that's big points. He's got the difficulty, he's got the beauty, so he should do well with this piece.